NIN App Tutorial, Part 5, Steps 21 through 25. Our app is almost complete. In this step, we'll add the necessary actions to the Update Memberships button. Add the following action to the Update Memberships button. Set the following input mappings. Add a second action to the Update Memberships button. We'll click Save to save our progress so far. Our app is finished. In this step, we'll test it using Run mode. In the left sidebar, go to the Variables tab. This will let us see the values of the backing variables in real time as we fill out the app. To put the app designer into Run mode, click the Run Radio button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Now, we'll fill out the form with dummy values. The Variables tab is populated in real time, including the ng variables being generated by our name generator. If any of these variables produce unexpected values, we'd want to debug our app at this point. Click Next. Our name value list is populated, confirming the values that will be written to the target AD account. Click Create User. The user should be successfully created in AD. Now, using the last form in our app, we'll add this user to a couple groups. We'll click the Update Memberships button. The user is added to the groups, and the app is restarted. Our app is finished and tested, but there is still one last thing to do: grant users access to it. In this step, we'll add and configure an internal system and create some internal NIN users. Now let's add the internal system. Go to Systems, Overview, click Add, accept the default system name. Click Save. The new system is added to the Configured Systems pane. Click Configure for the internal system. Enable the users, groups, and memberships tables. Click Save. Expand the internal systems table list. Go to the Memberships table. Go to the Relations tab. Manually add the following foreign primary key relations. Enable all the checkboxes in the End in Relations pane. Click Save. Add an inter-system relation between the HR 500 and internal systems. Go to Processing, Relations. In the A pane, select the HR 500 system, the Employees table, and the Employee ID column. In the B pane, select the internal system, the Users table, and the External ID column. Click Match. Click Add. The new relation is populated into the Inter-System Relations pane. Click Save. Add a filter that selects employees without internal accounts. Go to Processing, Filters. Click Add. Enter a filter name. For this example, we'll call our filter HR 500 internal user create, following the convention source system target system object type action. Click Create. Configure the filter to join the HR500.employees table to the internal.users table using no logic. Click Filter to run the filter. The results are populated into the result pane. In our case, all 585 employees in the CSV system do not yet have an account in the internal system. Go to the Column Selection tab and hide all columns under the user's alias, which will always be empty. Click Save. Add a name generator to generate internal usernames. Go to Processing, Name Generation, and add a name generator named NG Internal. For the Based On filter, select the HR 500 internal user create filter we created previously. Add a name called NG Internal Username. Add a new method for NG Internal Username. Drag and drop first name to part 1, last name to part 2, and employee ID to part 3. We'll apply the following conversions. Click Save. Add a password generator to generate internal account passwords. In a production scenario, we'd likely want to add a password generator. However, for this example, we'll skip it and instead map static passwords to make it easier to test the accounts we create. Add a mapping to create internal accounts. Go to Output, Mappings, and add a mapping with the following values. For the Mappings filter, select HR 500 Internal User Create. For the name generator, select NG Internal. We'll map the following attributes. Click Save. Now, add a job for the internal system. Go to Output, Jobs, and add a job named HR 500 Internal. Add a new job item with a type of CRUD. For the name, we'll select the HR 500 Internal User Create mapping. We'll set the threshold to 1,000. Click Save. Go to the Execution tab and click Evaluate. This job will create 585 internal NIN user accounts. Now, add and configure a scheduler for the internal system. Go to Scheduler, Overview, and add a sync type scheduler named HR 500 Internal. We'll turn off the Evaluate toggle. We'll add our HR 500 source system to the scheduler's collection with a maximum age of 0 and stop on error enabled. We'll add our HR 500 internal job to the scheduler with stop on error enabled. Go to the Schedule tab. Enable the Scheduling Enabled checkbox. We'll configure the schedule to run at 2:15 a.m., Monday through Friday. Click Save. Next, perform an initial manual run and troubleshoot errors. Go back to Scheduler, Overview, and click Manual Run for the HR 500 internal schedule. The scheduler executes successfully. The internal accounts have been created. We can verify this by checking the user's table of the internal system. We can also verify this by examining the following location address. In this step, we'll grant some of our internal users access to our app. Granting access to the auto-generated internal group. NIM auto-generates an internal group for each app. We need to grant the auto-generated group access to our app. In the App Designer, go to the Access tab of the Add AD User Create app. All users and groups in the internal NIM system are displayed here. Click the header of the Type column to sort the access pane by type. All groups in the internal system are brought to the top of the list. Currently, only the administrators group has access to this app. However, as we can see, there is an auto-generated group available that corresponds to this app, NGA, App AD User Create. We'll enable the checkbox for the NGA, App AD User Create group. Now, all users in this group will be able to access this app. Click Save. Now that the auto-generated group has access to the app, we need to put some users into the group. Create a filter named Internal Group Memberships App AD User Create. We'll configure the filter to get all employees in the ENCO Helpdesk department who have an internal user account, 26 in total. Go to the Internal Systems Groups table and copy the ID of the NGA App AD User Create group to a local text editor. Create a mapping with the following values. For the Mappings filter, select the Internal Group Memberships App AD User Create filter we just created. We'll map the following attributes. Click Save. We'll create a new job named Internal and add this mapping to it. We'll create a new sync scheduler also named Internal and add the internal job to it. We'll manually run this scheduler. The 26 internal users are now members of the NGA, App AD User Create group, and therefore now have access to the App AD User Create app. To verify this, we'll check the memberships table of the internal system. The memberships were successfully created. We can also verify the same thing on the Access tab of the app. We've successfully granted access to our app. In this step, we'll access it in production using an internal user account. Open a private browser window and go to the shown address. You're taken to a login screen. Log in using the username/password of one of the internal users that has access to this app. For this example, we will log in using C. French's account and the static password we mapped earlier. You're now logged in as an internal user viewing the app. This concludes the NIM app tutorial. Congratulations!